and it just all changed, didn't it? Because obviously Kane fired home the penalty. He just doesn't seem to miss, does he? Especially when it's against Arsenal. He's scored now 13 goals, I think it is, in 15 Premier League matches against Arsenal, which is obscene but fantastic. So he'd scored the penalty, put that away very nicely, and then after the red card, Sonny involved again with a nicely floated corner that Rodrigo Bentancur headed on, and Kane stooped to dive header the ball right in at the last moment at the other side. It was going wide, I think, so he had to do it. It wasn't like he was stealing a goal or anything. So that was him. And if you watch Sonny's celebrations after that goal, he goes mad. He's so excited. It's lovely. And then obviously Sonny, 2 minutes into the... well, let's actually just say the first half itself, after everything that happened, and I hate North London derbies. I hate them with a passion in terms of I don't enjoy watching them. I don't enjoy covering them as a reporter. They're just really uncomfortable experiences. But that is the first time that, you know what, I got to half-time. I should say that's an air freshener that's gone off. That's not me releasing any air from my body. I don't know why it's done that. I thought I turned it in a direction it wouldn't. But there you go. And it smells really orangey. It's a really orangey smell, citrusy smell. See, these are the kind of amazing insights you don't get anywhere else. What kind of smell the air freshener in this room is. But yeah, it got to half-time in this game. Spurs 2-0 up. Arsenal with 10 men. And it was probably the first time that you could kind of just relax and enjoy a North London derby, because you knew the likelihood was it wasn't going to turn in a different direction. It would have been something catastrophic to happen for that. And I know Tottenham can do that, but it wasn't. And then that was absolutely ratified 2 minutes in when big Davinson Sanchez put in a very nice quick ball. You know, exactly what Romero would have done in that situation, which was get the ball very quickly to Harry Kane. Harry Kane turns, goes into the box, and do you know what? You could maybe even analyse that he was pulled to the ground. I think it probably wouldn't have been given, but he was kind of brought to the ground. Maybe Gabriel, I think it was. And then the ball broke loose to Sonny, who's actually is a really nice finish if you watch it back. It's the only kind of finish that gets through the bodies there. It's quite a clever little finish. And so Sonny gets one closer to Mohamed Salah in the Golden Boot race, which, Sonny says he's not bothered about. But, we'll come to it in a little bit. He wanted to stay on that pitch, and you'd think it was to score more goals. I hope it was. Every striker should want to score goals. But from that point on as well, it was like Arsenal were crushed. They were. That did the trick. That third goal was it. That was the nail in the coffin. And then Spurs, they just managed the game really well. I had one chap, I can't remember if he tweeted me or something earlier on today, who was saying, I was really disappointed Spurs didn't go for the jugular. Absolutely crushed their spirit. I get that, but on the other hand, we have to be aware that Spurs are playing again with less than 72 hours after the final. It was way less than 72 hours. 12 o'clock on Sunday. I don't know who in the fixturing, scheduling powers that be decided, oh yeah, that's a clever thing to do. So that Spurs, with an extra man, were able to manage the game the way they did was absolutely perfect for them. It gave all of them, the wing-backs didn't quite push on as much. They didn't have to. The midfield just got that little bit of a rest. The defence weren't really troubled at all. There were a few extra little chances. Emerson, he had that header, didn't he, that Ramsdale saved quite well. And Kane had a shot from distance that the keeper pushed over as well. So they had their moments to extend the lead, but ultimately it was job done. Goal difference is now so far ahead, I don't really think that makes much of a difference. And I'll be honest, I think a 3-0 defeat in a North London derby for Arsenal is morale sapping enough. So personally, I kind of agreed with the way Spurs went about it. And I felt that hopefully, fingers crossed, that should pay some dividends on Sunday with the way it was. But it was perfectly done. It was perfect. It started a little bit nervy. I did feel that. I think, with Davinson Sanchez coming in, he looked a little bit rusty. He hadn't started in like 2.5 months or so. But I think even he grew into it. I'm going to talk about Big Dav, or Patron, as Antonio Conte calls him. But after that little nervous bit went, and I kind of almost felt like Holding's fouls helped fire Spurs up. And they kind of got up the pitch and they were breaking nicely. And obviously got the penalty before he went off the pitch. And look, Arsenal started probably brighter, I think. But yeah, Spurs, it was exactly what they needed on the day. It was absolutely, if you could have written a script, it was perfect for what Spurs needed on the day. And you know what? Sonny was properly annoyed when he was coming off. And it was really not what you'd expect from Sonny. But you know what? I'm kind of all for it. I am. I thought it was quite refreshing because he is such a humble guy. He's such a modest guy. And it is all about the team. And you know what? I think after the day he'd had when he'd been kicked and pushed and smashed in the face, I kind of thought, you know, why not? I like that. I like the fact that you still want to be on that pitch because you can smell more goals. You can. And he was just, I think he was just loving it. I think he was loving the atmosphere and being part of the North London derby. So you watched him come off. He was like, oh man, he was like properly talking to, was it Højbjerg? He was talking to someone as he was coming off and you could see he wasn't happy. And then he kind of gave Conte, not quite the brush off, but it wasn't the normal massive hug that he gives Conte back. And then he sat there and he sat next to Galini and you could see him going, oh, I'm really annoyed kind of thing. And I get it, and I did understand it. It was just so unlike Sonny that I think I found it, quite refreshing. And I did ask, I asked Conte about it afterwards, and why he'd done it. You know, if you're not aware, Conte made a double change. It was in the 72nd minute, so 18 minutes to go. He brought on Bergwijn and Lucas for Son and Kulusevski. It was clearly because he thought, right, let's wrap them in cotton wool. Let's have them ready for the match against Burnley. So I asked him afterwards, you know, what did he make of Son not being particularly happy? And he was in a bit of a jokey mood, was Antonio. He said, it was a strategy because in this way, I push him on Sunday to try and score and not be relaxed and stay top scorer because now he has 1 goal less than Salah. I was like, no, I'm joking. I wanted to give him and Decky a bit of rest because on Sunday it will be a sporting war. So to rest players for 20 to 25 minutes was important for us. Because this is the other thing about Spurs. As Conte keeps telling us, especially with Romero out now, Spurs have 14 fit outfield players, like senior players. It's ridiculous. I know it is. And it shows, you know, they've only lost now 5 first team players, and yet that's how kind of crippled they are as a squad. So yeah, I get it, and I completely got their substitution. And to be fair, I'm sure Sonny did afterwards as well. I think in the moment it was frustrating, but I think afterwards he would have understood the point of it. And if he's now that little bit fitter, you know, heaven forbid, in those last 18 minutes or so, he might have picked up an injury. I know he can pick up an injury in training just as easily, but I think there'll probably be a little bit, you know, between now and Sunday, I think there's going to be very little in the way of anything strenuous. I think they are going to be recovering those muscles more than anything. I think most of the stuff is going to be done in meetings and analysis. But yeah, you know, I do like the fact that Sonny has kind of developed that little bit of a... It's not greedy. It's like an edge that, you know, he wants to succeed. You know, he will keep telling you until he's blue in the face that he does not care about the golden boot. It's about the team. But I think with Sonny, he sees maybe him scoring goals or setting up goals, whatever it is, as a means to that end of getting Tottenham into the top 4 and wanting to make that difference. But, you know, to be fair, you know, Bergwijn and Lucas both need minutes as well, because who knows, in these last 2 games you may have to call upon them and you don't want them to be rusty. And this was the perfect moment for it. It was. But what really impressed me as well about the team was the spine of it. The spine of it was really good. I think I said, probably in the last video, if not, I've written about it a fair few times in the week leading up to it. Tottenham's big players needed to step up. I feel sometimes they don't, and that's what lets Spurs down. But this was a day when I felt all of them stepped up. You know, Harry Kane scored 2 goals, as he loves to do in these derbies. Sonny absolutely stepped up. He kept on battling and battling and battling.